Welcome to the Blue Swan podcast. Today we have an incredible entrepreneur and model, Bobbi Hamilton. Would you let everybody know a little bit about yourself?
Well, I grew up by Cornell University. So when I was young, and there was also a really great athletic program at the time. I had benefited from Title IX. I had access to one of the Cornell diving coaches, Rick Gilbert, who was an Olympian. He had a daughter my age. So he brought me in for 1 and 3 meter, and Roy Albert would come in and fill in sometimes, and he really taught I how to train my mind. I had a early introduction to that through him. So I got a really good mind-body training in high school around diving. And some of the college athletes would take us little kids to the gorges at Cornell and like make us jump and think it was really funny and teach us, how to flip off there. And so it kind of made me interested in learning platform diving. And I ended up being a bit better at that as well. I discovered that I was actually pretty good in that way because I was pretty brave and trusted myself and really started learning biomechanics and precision training and got into belts when I went into college and before um and you do a lot of lead ups, you learn how to visualize. So the transfer into, casting was that I had a background in belts and trampolines and high diving. And, so I could do a lot of performance work, you know, that a lot of actors couldn't do. And so I was, cast for some really fun shoots in Hollywood, and also was at the time learning a bit about branding, taking some extra coursework. So I was, you know, like I did a shoot for Canon, and that shoot was so fun. It was like a European production company. They hoisted me 3 stories high, and I would be dangling there, and little children would be peeking out the windows at me while I was hanging in the air. That was so cute. And so I felt so magical, and they would drop me, and I would, land and have to start running. And so there were some really fun shoots. Like I think I did some trampoline for oh gosh, what was it? I can't remember which one. I did Delta Sky Lounge, and that was really fun. That was like an all-night shoot at the airport. And then, there was a couple times that I'd be traveling and I'd be like, oh, that's me. Oh my God, I'm on their website. Or like, oh, there's the Sky Lounge, and I would walk in and be like, that's me. And the women would go, okay, go in. And I'd get to rest. And, there were like some fun perks of like doing this kind of work. I did a Stella McCartney Adidas shoot where was in a box on Second Street in Santa Monica, doing yoga for them in some of the coolest athletic wear. I loved Adidas Stella McCarthy athletic wear at the time. It was so great. And yeah, I did a lot of different types of work, and it gave me a background where I felt really comfortable. I guess I learned to be comfortable in front of the camera, and that really helped me launch my own product, right? So when I innovated my yoga mat and game, then I was able to go, okay, I'll do all the photographs and launch this thing because I know how to use the product. And there was so many talented people in LA that I got to work with, and a lot of like really up and coming photographers like Stash Leonsky, and there's great editors and um, people who understood branding and, would give me their 2 cents and guide me. So I was able to start to develop my own products and assets. And that really helped me build luxury brand assets. So my product then, my Chi yoga mat and game was, and I'd had enough of a background in branding and working with these producers where we built assets that took my brand all the way into Saks Fifth Avenue and Nordstrom and Uncommon Goods and, really placed us as a high-end brand and got us into so many gift guides and Harper's Bazaar and Goop and on the Today Show. And so, yeah, it really helped evolve my career. And thank you so much for asking, because it really took me through that whole process of understanding that, that was an evolution and it was a progression of my talent and skill and working with so much talent and skill and in LA and New York and San Diego and I just well, like it really helped my own brand shine when I was able to start to develop that. So thanks for asking. How take me down the path. You ask good questions.
Happily. And it's always fun to hear about people who modestly discuss their media entourage and, loyal consumer base. And so, speaking about that, it might be interesting to sort of take a swan dive into sort of how you started thinking out of the box and building up your customer base, because a lot of families love the product and your branding really does reflect that, and it shows you truly care about the base. And so, it would be interesting to hear about that and certain concepts such as, auras exist within, martial arts disciplines, and monks may or not have mentioned that. But there are devices such as our Ring that do track biometrics. And so it could be really interesting to hear about how you're building that into the app and if there's anything people should be looking forward to in the future.
Sure, thanks. So, well, I've been a long time teacher. I think one of my first jobs at 16 was teaching fitness. So, I got into yoga to heal my own back and spine from sports injuries and repetitive stress. And that was a large pull for me because it really helped heal my back. But I obviously became a yoga teacher, movement therapist. I really try to engage kids for well-being, for weight loss and mental focus. And so I've taught adults and kids and then started teaching families. And I did create the yoga mat out of sort of a spontaneous idea. So my Chi yoga mat game, the symbol system is, based on a system that I kind of came up with in a blink of the eye in terms of an idea, but it really was part of my training. Obviously biomechanics is so important. Takeoff for diving is the most important. I mean, besides entry, but alignment for that, but alignment in the principle of alignments of yoga really helped me understand body alignment and hand and body placement and bone and spine links. And it really helped me build the map. But in a blink of an eye, I really was trying to prevent an injury with a student of mine who was a little girl following me at Venice Public Library who couldn't follow. She was Latina. She looked like she was going to injure herself. I was starting to understand she didn't have a real grasp on the language. So I drew on her mat. And from there, I built the idea of using symbol placement for proper body placement. So, yes, I built these products for kids. And then, moms really wanted them for themselves because they didn't feel that they had a true grasp on their body alignment. So I made matching child and parent products. And also, when I wrote the patents, I created two so that one was more of a low tech and one was more of a high tech. And the high tech part has evolved. We do have a game app that you can currently download on iTunes that goes with the yoga mat, and it's more of like a swiping. You learn one at a time, or you can put it on a timer system where it goes, based on an amount of time that kind of coordinates with breath and recognition of symbols and body placement. And, we count our breaths. So we freeze for threes, and that takes us into a meditative state. But the idea is really matching the symbols, matching the body placement. And the videos also, they pop up the symbols, so it's easier to see. And so I've gone through this process of, designing one app that's a game app that goes with the mat. We're just launching a new app, which is more of a class-based app. So I'm launching new classes for, my base, which is, moms, and featuring like mat Pilates and yoga at wellness resorts where I teach, and guided breathing and guided meditation, how to like just really feel well. And then there's a subgenre that is geared toward moms and kids. So I have moms and kids that I've taught teaching on the mat, and I have, we're launching with a full class of me going through the entire 10 levels that is on the mat, on the how to game poster rolled up inside of the mat. So, um, as we go, the digital assets are evolving, and, I've been gaining advisors. Like, one of my advisors is Tom Dusenberry, the former CEO of Hasbro Interactive. So he's really helped me kind of marry these digital partnerships. Like, we're about to launch on LG TV, and he's helped me really understand how to build these strategic partnerships. And so I'm, trying to lean into my skills. And one of the hardest things, so Tom would keep saying to me, to record video. And I would be like, but I just don't feel confident speaking to camera. Like, I feel so much more confident being the athletic model. Like, I did that for 10 years. But speaking to camera was another thing for me, another level. It was really hard for me. And, getting sound right, and being trusting myself to speak while I teach, and trying to get all of that right, and the pressure of it, and oh, the pressure of trying to be perfect, and the pressure of, just putting yourself out there, and the pressure of, you know putting yourself out there in a patriarchal, misogynistic culture that just likes to tear you down, and like, wondering like, well, why do I even want to do this? And just going, well, I teach and I see the benefits it has for people. They tell me how they feel better. They like this, they like that. So I try to gather my knowledge from teaching, and then offer that in a new way. And so, I've been trying to evolve what's working, what the, press gives me positive feedback on, what my students give me positive feedback on, and what my advisors, guide me into. And, there's been a couple of really excellent people like Mo, Iqbal, I always mess up his last name, and Lauren Foundos, who just, helped me create a new digital class app, and her opening doors for me, introduced me to people that evolved in LGTV. And so, I guess I don't know so much about like actual development myself, but I work with people to do the development, and I just try to figure out how I can best evolve myself and work with other innovators, and, the leading edge of technology. In terms of the Aura Ring, so for me, my brand is Chi Universe, and, training with Tibetan teachers, and really training with the idea of not the idea of, but training with the energetic body, and understanding the energy system and field around the body, and the depth of training that I've done. I definitely feel like the Aura Ring, I can't wear those things because it bothers my electrical body, but I love the data and analytics of it. So learn from friends or advisors. And I like to see the data and the sleep data and the training data and the heartbeat and the glucose, all the stuff. Like I love the data around it. Personally, I don't use it like an Oura Ring or trackers um, so much. So I'm not like a leading expert and on that stuff, but I do try to evolve with technology and digital and I'm trying to not to hold myself back anymore, you know. And I think that that was something I also really learned as being an athletic model was that I really downplayed it. I didn't really talk about my branding jobs. I kind of hid it a little bit. I didn't even really, I collected a few of the things. I would open a magazine, I would see myself in ads, a Quaker Oats ad, you know, or I have a couple of digital links, you know, to things that I've done, but I feel like I definitely downplayed myself and diminished myself and try to hide myself, as weird as that sounds, while still being in the industry. And it's such a weird thing to try and talk about or wrap your head around. Um, but I had this agent, John Roberts, at DDO, who was just so excellent because it was like he would catch me. I would try to get out of going to the casting of the jobs I would book. And he would call me and he would stay with me on the phone until I would say, okay, John, I'll go. And then I would book um that job. And I always thought, wow, that is so weird that I would always try to get out of the jobs that were right for me. And I was always afraid to put myself out there and had such a terrific agent who would talk me out of my tree and make me go. And so I think that that was a huge part of me learning about myself and how I would like sabotage myself. So I'm still leaning into it. And now I'm about to launch with a couple of the biggest contracts of my life, which is, you know, LGTV and a couple that I can't mention right now that are going to drop in 2026. So, yeah, it's been a a you know, a slow growth of me really trying to understand myself and to utilize my best skills and you know, to try to evolve as a pioneer and a, you know, somebody who's learned how to take funding, small amounts, and then trying, you know, now I'm trying to raise a larger scale and learning how to do these partnerships and you know, leaning into my bravery. So I'm, you know, bravery in a new way, right? Bravery of jumping off 10-meter tower and executing a new dive is ballsy, and it's very different than like putting yourself out there publicly and speaking to camera and doing things in that way. So, um, you know, trying to be brave in different ways, I would say, to evolve myself and my career has been a big, huge evolution. So I hope I'm answering questions that you're asking.
More thoroughly than I ever could have asked for. So thank you for that. And so you're uniquely positioned within the industry because you have the tech side covered with the patents, and you've also got the influencer side. And so recently there's been a small evolution in the entertainment industry where people like Kim Kardashian or tech investors like Naval Ravikant or influencers such as Logan Paul have all started investing in startups. And so now that Mr. Beast's social media empire has actually surpassed Robert Downey Jr.'s in terms of annual revenue, what do you foresee happening within the dichotomy between the high-tech industry and the influencer brands?
Well, obviously, celebrity works. You know, I'm just incredibly impressed at the empires, you know, that Kim Kardashian and her sisters and Paris Hilton have built off of their celebrity influencer careers. It it works. I would definitely work with a celebrity to launch, the next part of my career. I'm definitely open to the idea of working with the perfect mom celebrity. Um, and yeah, I think it's just powerful. It's really powerful. And I continue to learn that. I didn't really understand that early in my career. I wanted to be more on the producer side, like you were saying earlier when we were talking. I'm a great producer. I'm better behind the camera than I am in front of it. I always wanted to be there, building things, and was kind of just ended up being in front of the camera. That helped build my understanding of being behind it and building assets and producing. Um, but yeah, there's so much power in celebrity. They build brands quicker, they become billion-dollar brands. I, I feel in this next evolution as I rebrand my product and scale it. One of the things that I learned was working with influencers, influencer yoga moms and fit moms and conscious moms. And it was great being in Goop with a Gwyneth Paltrow to kind of help me launch earlier and when I was a younger product, launching Chi Universe. And I think it really, helped me. I didn't have the like a contract with an influencer at the time, so I would be open to that going forward. Um, but yeah, I don't know a ton really about AI and stuff like this. I'm still trying to learn as well, but so far I'm really realizing the power still of celebrity and influencers and even smaller influencers, micro influencers. I love this influencer market. I love people engaging with their own communities. That really helped me or grow organically early on with my own products, shipping products to influencers. And I loved working with them. Just love some of them still who became friends with, who put my product out there to their communities. So I think this model is excellent. I think it's definitely going to be a part of the future. And I think celebrity influencers are showing to be like just powerhouses. And I think I love it. Like let them get behind things they believe and get behind innovation and startup entrepreneurs. I think it's so cool, actually.
Thanks for sharing your journey of entrepreneurial enlightenment. It was a pleasure to listen to.
Oh, thanks so much for featuring me, Sean. And you're obviously brilliant. And thanks for queuing me up with your questions. Really appreciate it. Hope I can help your audience. And yeah, thanks so much for letting me be on before the holidays because our Chi Yoga Mountain game is such a great gift for kids and families. So appreciate the timing.